Hello, today I'll be reading The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing except old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. In the deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see where the lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the lorax away. What was the lorax, and why is it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far the end of town where the grickle grass grows. The Onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler, don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin on his top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muttered moof. And on especial dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks. He tells how the lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents with a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail and makes mouth cancel count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've painted away in his secret strange hole in his groovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by the whisper, my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slop! Down slops the whisper-phone to your ear. The old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have come down through the snuggly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says with his teeth sounding gray, how the lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the fall was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the swarm of swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the truffalo trees, the bright-colored tufts on the truffalo trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown baloots frisking about in their baloot suits, as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those truffalo trees, I've been searching all my life. I've been searching for these trees such as these. I touch their tufts and they make softer than silk, and they have sweet smell or of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I'd unload my cart. In no time at all, I built a small shop. Then I chopped down the truffalo tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill, and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree. I chopped it down. It was the sort of man describing that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy. He spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Bossy, I mean. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I'm the lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees and for the trees that have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset and he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffalo tuft? He doesn't look angry. Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped down just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers, for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool need. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax, you poor stupid guy. You can never tell when what somebody will buy. I repeat, cried, I speak for the trees. I'm busy. I told him, shut up, if you please. I rushed across the room in no time at all, built a radiophone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, then turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. And in no time at all I built a factory. I built the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of truffalo dropping of truffalo trees. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. I quickly invented a super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffalo trees at one smacker. Ow! We were making thneeds 4 times as fast, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my office door. He snapped, "I'm the lorax who speaks for the trees, which you've been seen to trotting as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffle fruits. Now think you're hacking my trees to go round. There's not enough truffle fruit to go round. And my poor barbaloots are getting hung the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. "Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the onceler, felt sad, but as I watched them go, but business is business, and business must grow. Relards of the crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I mostly truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads. I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads. Of the needs I shipped out, my wagons I biggered. Of needs I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I absolutely pointed that wrong. I went right on biggering, selling more needs, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some types when that old nonsense lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the lorax," he coughed with and whiffed. He sneezed and snuffled, he snargled and sniffed. "Onceler," he cried with a cruffless croak. "Onceler, you're making such a smuggless smoke. My poor swami swans, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." "And so," said the lorax, "please pardon my cough, I cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog. You've smogged up around here." "What's more," snapped the lorax, he dandered up, "let me see a few words about this gluppity glup. Your machinery chugs all day and night without slop, making gluppity glop, also gluppity shlop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old onceler man, you." "You're glumping the pond where the humming fish hum. They no more can they hum, for their gills are gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and hope and get woefully weary. I'm in search of some water that isn't so smeary." In search of some water that isn't so smeary. Got it. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the. "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, bad, bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, I'm telling you. I attend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffalo trees into needs, which everyone needs. At the very moment we hear a loud whack, from outside the fields came with sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffalo tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in time, my uncles and aunts, everyone all waved me goodbye. They jumped into cars and drove away under the smoke-smothered stars. Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the lorax, and I. The lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. Just gave me a very sad, backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his parents. I'll never forget the grim look on his face, while instead he hoisted himself and took to leave this place through the hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the lorax left here in that mess was a small pile of rocks. One word and less, whatever that meant, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that I've sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole lot, awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So Cat calls the Onceler he lets. It's a truffalo seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of that last of the truffalo trees. And the truffalo trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the lorax and all of his friends may come back. And that's the end except for this illustration here. And that's the end of the lorax. And hopefully you keep reading. And hopefully you enjoyed the book. And goodbye.